Let's now explore our environment. At the top, we have STG, which is the staging environment. And you can see that it has development here. I'm using this for our training purposes today. We also have TRN, which is a actual training environment. It will allow you to go in and practice before accessing the production environment. And that will have TRN in this little area here, and then our production environment will have PRD. So you'll have your company name. My company right now is Training Company. You'll have the indication of what environment you're in. You'll have your name here. You'll have your role, which is for this particular training is job coach. And then you'll have a log out button. And then that will put you back to the login screen. To the left side, we have the environment name, WebVenly CRP. We have the dashboard, which is this page here. We have your profile. We have a job processing, which houses everything that you're going to use for actually logging information into the system. If I click on that, you can see that there's additional links here. We have My Consumer. We have Policy and Protocol. So let's take a look at our dashboard. We have different widgets. Right now, I don't have anything assigned to me or I haven't done any records into the system, so everything is blank at the moment. Here, I can customize widgets. So if I click on that button and I scroll all the way down, I can now put different widgets in different orders. Let's go ahead and move mileage paid summary to the second block. And let's go ahead and save that. You can now see that the dashboard has changed. Let's go over some of the widgets. We have job log summary, which basically shows the total hours you've entered, what has been paid, and what is not paid. We have the mileage summary that shows total miles entered, total paid miles, and unpaid miles. We have monthly reports, and this will show all monthly reports that you still need to submit for the end of the month process. We have My Consumers, which is a count of consumers assigned to you. Then we also have a little section here that when an authorization is getting close to the max, it will show you a list of those. And then we have the section here at the bottom that allows you to customize the widgets. One other thing while we're here, if I want to turn off a widget, I can check the checkbox or toggle box and then hit save, and that widget will no longer appear. And then I can just toggle it back on to show it. And then I can close this section. Let's now move down to profile. So I'm going to select profile in the sidebar, and this will open up my profile. You can see that I'm logged in as this with this email address. I can see what company I'm working for, my role, and my user ID. If I move down to the next section, I can see my name, my email address, and my phone number. I do have the ability to change my email address and my phone number along with my address. And this address is used for purposes of mileage logs. So this address should be correct at all times. I have a place for a digital signature, so I can sign this, and but this is only right now used for admins, so you can skip that section. And if you want to change your password, you would need to put the current password and then the new password here, and then you can update your password. So that is the profile section. The next section is the job processing. And in the first option, we have forms. So we have a CRP 20, which if we select that, I do not have anything in my list right now. But if I go here at the top, um, Near the top, you can see all plans and then create plan. I can click on that to create a new plan, and this will allow me to fill in the information. The consumers that I'm assigned to will be shown in the dropdown. So right now I'm not assigned to anyone, so I don't have anything to select. And then I can populate all of these fields. I can do a signature and I can create a plan. I'm not going to do that right now, but let's move on to the next one. We have a CRP 22, which is a CRP progress report. If I click on that, same concept. I have a list of all of the reports that I have in this section. I can view that list or I can create a report. So by clicking report, and this works the same way. When I select the consumer dropdown, I would see a list of my consumers. But again, I'm not assigned anything right now. Also, when we're at this point, if I click the drop down for authorization, only the authorizations for that consumer will be displayed. And same concept, I have fields to enter data, signature, and then I would create a monthly report. All right, let's move to the next section, locations. We'll get into more of this later, but locations is places that you would go to do training, to at a job site, and you would populate those records for your mileage route. And we'll get into that section at a later time. Here is mileage routes. So you would use those locations to build out routes along with the consumer's address, your address, everything works together to build a route. And we'll get into that section at a later time. Here would be a list of all of my mileage records. I can go and add mileage. So I would select that, scroll down. You can see job coach, consumer, and then job location, which would be the locations that we just reviewed. You can save those routes, access those routes, and we'll look at that shortly. The next section is job logs, and this is where you'll be entering hourly records for services that you will be doing, training, job coaching, things like that. Again, job log list. This will show a list of all your hourly job log records. And then you can click add job log to add a new record. Here I have date of service. Is it billable? Who is the consumer? And the same thing here. I will only see a list of my consumers. And then once I have that selected, I will only see their authorizations. Um, you'll see that we have little red stars, and that indicates that this data is required before you save the record. In the job log section and in the mileage section, if an authorization has no more hours or um, miles available, it will no longer allow you to assign hours or miles to that authorization. And for the job log, you do have a signature for the consumer just to verify that that is what you've done today. It is not required. Once you have all of that information populated, you would save the record. So that is everything in our job processing section. Okay, the next sections would be my consumer and policies and protocols. Let's skip my consumer and we'll have to do that at the end of our training so that you can actually see data in there. There wouldn't be anything there now. So we'll return to that at the end of our training. The last thing is policies and protocols. And if your company has anything that they want to share with you, this is a place where they could put that information, maybe your handbook, maybe directions on how to do a particular thing. They could save it here, and then that would allow you to have access to download that and review it. One last thing is at the bottom, we do have a ticket system. If I click on that ticket system, it will allow me to create a ticket that would be sent to the developer, and then they can review that information and help solve your problems if you have any problems. And then you can see a list of all of your tickets here. Now that we have some information entered into the system, we can now look at my consumers. So if I click on my consumers, you can see that I have a list, which I only have one, of my consumers. The front section here is all about the consumer's name, their phone number, their case ID, the status, and then we move over into the counselor's information. So the counselor's name, the counselor's email, and the counselor's phone number. I know for training purposes, I use the same phone number, but they are different. This is the counselor's phone number. To see more information, or if I needed to change information about a consumer, I can click this button here, has a little person on it, and then that will open up the consumer's record. So if I needed to make a change to their phone number, or to add some notes or change their address, I would be able to do so. So that, and then we have a save changes here at the bottom. You do have the ability to add notes and to change some information. Now, if I need information about their authorizations, then I would click this button here with a little piece of paper, it looks like, and it does view authorizations. So here you can see that this consumer has two open authorizations. We have the total units, meaning how many miles and hours do we have, how many hours we used, and how much mileage we've used. And then it goes down into a breakdown here below. The authorization number, what type, is it for mileage or is it for service? How many total units we have, total miles we can use, total hours we can use. The first column would be hours, so this would only be related to service, which we have used one. And then the second column is for mileage records only, and we've used 23. Then it kind of gives us a breakdown of percentages used. So 1.7% used of our 1,333 miles, and then 5% of our 18.2 miles. Here we have the last service. This is the last time I was out there, and then it gives a total of how many services. So services meaning when did we use the mileage? When did we meet up for some type of service with the customer? Talking about planning, talking about life skills, job training, things like that. So that is information about your consumer and about their authorizations. All right, that concludes the Exploring Your Environment section of our training.